Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram, Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Thursday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. On today's show, we have DC Universe updates for you because the casting process very soon will begin for casting James Gunn's Supergirl. We have a writer for this movie, but we don't have a director officially. But considering that they're going to start the casting process very soon for Supergirl, not only do I believe she will have a fleeting appearance in Superman Legacy, but they have secretly already appointed a director for this movie. It'll be very, very interesting who that will be. With the kind of era we're in today, it's most definitely going to be a female director. Will it be one we've heard of or not? Only time will tell. Also, we're going to talk about the 12 actors that have been announced to be in Joker Folie à Deux. That's coming up a little bit later on. But let's focus about this breaking Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow news. Supergirl, Millie Alcock, Amelia Jones and Meg Donnelly among those in the mix to screen test for role. Now, I'm going to be clear about this. I don't watch a lot of modern shit these days because it's shit, in my opinion. So I know jack about these young actresses. So I can't venture an opinion whether I agree with them being up for this role or not. I do know Millie Alcock a little bit from House of Dragons. She's good, but I think whichever young actress they choose for this role, it's much of a sameness, and I think it's going to be the writing and the directing and the idea of the movie that's going to be a winner or a loser at the end of the day. Now, we know this is taken from a graphic novel, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's going to have to be an actress that feels world weary because she goes through a lot of shit in this graphic novel before she actually arrives on Earth. And it's going to be a very, very defined, interesting story. So we shall see. Now, also this article, which we're going to get into very shortly, says that the audition process will be supervised by James Gunn. I like the way that James Gunn is taking full responsibility for the development of this universe. He knows whatever happens, positive or negative, he's either going to get the praise or the criticism for. So this is huge for him. I mean, this is a guy who was cancelled, fired by Disney, and now he finds himself co-running DC Studios. It's an amazing story, and if he's successful in what he's doing, it's going to be an even bigger story. It's a big gamble for him, but he's certainly a man who's confident in his own ability. So let's get the deets on this. Exclusive. We are hearing that DC Studios is planning to test actresses soon to star in Supergirl, and that Millie Alcock, Amelia Jones and Meg Donnelly are in the mix. There is a chance the studio could make a straight offer to a star, but all things are pointing towards screen tests for actresses, which will go down within the next month or so, we hear. So this is very interesting because they say there's a chance the studio could make a straight offer to a star. This means they don't really know if there's an audition process or they've already pinpointed who they wanted and they're just going to make an offer. So we could be finding out who's playing Supergirl very soon. But what this also tells us and suggests that Sasha Calle will definitely not be playing Supergirl. Now, very interesting, during the release of The Flash, you know, Sasha Calle told us and told the world that she had spoken to James Gunn about the future. Could it be that Sasha Calle could be given another role? Maybe she could be James Gunn's Wonder Woman. Who knows? Now, officially, Gal Gadot is DC Universe's Wonder Woman, but I don't have much faith that that's actually the case. Anyway, let's get into this. Deadline understands that DC Studios co-boss James Gunn is definitely part of the process, as this is a character who likely will make its debut via a cameo in a DC project that isn't Supergirl. The search is ongoing for a director. Yeah, you see, they haven't announced the director. Now, let me explain to you how all this works. Normally, you don't start casting without a director. Now, because the director isn't going to have much authority on this film, it's literally going to be a director that's directing what they want the director to do. It's not that important that the director's part of this audition process. That isn't the norm, by the way. I'm quite sure this is how Marvel Studios do it as well. As I say, it's James who's in charge. We don't know who's directing this movie. Is there a chance James Gunn directs this movie? Unlikely, because he's also directing The Authority. There's only one of James Gunn. If he could kind of split himself in 20 billion pieces, I'm sure he'd direct every single movie. Alcock is best known for her lead role on HBO's Game of Thrones spin-off, House of Dragons, playing Princess Britannia Targaryen. She is rep by CEA, and we don't care about that, CAA, Shannonland Management, Entertainment 360, and Curtis Brown. Jones rep by CEA, but basically they're going to tell us all the representatives, which we don't care about. So basically, yes, so Brazilian counts feature credits such as Paulo Sorrentino's Youth and Apple's Oscar Best Picture winner Coda, as well as the Netflix series Lock and Key. Now, I never saw Coda, but, her performance was lauded. So James Gunn is really looking for a proper actor to play this role. David Corenswet is a proper actor. He's not just someone who looks like Superman, he's a great actor as well. So these things are important. He's looking for the best directors and the best actors. That's a good kind of sign thus far. Donelly, rep by Gershon Silver Lining Entertainment, has starred in Disney Channel's Zombies franchise, and it's already the voice of Supergirl in the DC animated movies Legion of Superheroes and Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. So that's interesting. She's already the animated Supergirl, so could that give her a leg up? That would be a pretty cool piece of casting, if you ask me. Gunn, with co-DC chief Peter Safran, first announced the Supergirl movie Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow during DC Studios' press day just more than a year ago. The movie is based on Tom King's comic book series from 2022. Now, this is interesting because Tom King has become a huge confidant of James Gunn. Now, someone the other day asked James, lots of people hate Tom King as a comic book writer. And, he explained that he respects him. Now, here's the thing. You may not like Tom King's politics and some of its inserted politics into his graphic novels, but he does know his stuff. And Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is a much lauded comic book that I've never read, but the outlines of the story sound very interesting to me. Said Gunn at the time, in our series we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by the loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip of Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life. Then came to Earth when she was a young girl. She's much more hardcore. She's not exactly the Supergirl we're used to seeing. Now, I did a video, I think a few years ago, discussing Supergirl in the comics and discussing Melissa Benoist's, portrayal of the character. Now, in a lot of the comics, she's very aggressive. She's very world-weary. She doesn't actually like humanity at first, and I think this is what they're going for. Again, I find this very, very interesting. Superman Legacy, meanwhile, is prepping to shoot this spring in Georgia, with David Corenswet as Clark Kent, Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, those names are amazing, Skylar Zondo, I don't know how you pronounce his name, I think that's Jimmy Olsen, and Sarah Sampio with Anthony Carrigan, Isabel Merst, and Nathan Fillion playing Metamorpho. No. Nathan Fillion isn't playing Metamorpho. Nathan Fillion is playing Guy Gardner, right? Oh, right, they didn't list the names properly. It's fine. It's me, it's not them. Fillion playing Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, and Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, respectively. Superman Legacy has been set for a worldwide release on July 11, 2025. So that's the article. So this is indeed very interesting news if you're interested in DC. If you're one of the people like me who's positive about what James Gunn's doing. And I want to focus on that. As a DC fan, I want to see this. I want to see it, the development stages. I'm very, very excited, you know. So at this moment in time, I think it's the most exciting time to see James Gunn building out this universe and hearing about the casting. As I say, my knowledge of these actresses is very, very limiting. As I say, they could cast any of these actors and I'd be okay with it. Because as I say, it's much of a muchness. At the end of the day, it's about this graphic novel that I don't know too deeply, but the fact that she was raised on a rock for the first 14 years of her life. And the story goes on, I think, when she goes to Earth, she meets a young girl who she bonds with. So it sounds like a very interesting story. For me, without a shoot date for this movie, we know that, we know the writers writing the script right now. They do have a writer officially. They don't have a director. I'm not surprised that the casting process is starting before anything else has been announced, because I think she will be in Superman Legacy. Now, I don't think she'll play a huge role in Superman Legacy, but maybe she will. I think the most we can expect from the brand new Supergirl in James Gunn's DC universe is to maybe be in a post-credit scene, a little cameo. Of course, James may veto my thoughts on this, because James is very famous for coming on the internet and saying, no, you're wrong here and you're wrong there. That's what I like about James Gunn. He gives clarity about what he's doing and he sticks up for himself. Because if you're willing to talk down about someone, whether you're right or wrong, that person has every right to defend themselves. So yeah, the journey to cast Supergirl is very exciting, because I'm a huge Supergirl fan from the days of the Helen Slater movie. Not many people like the Helen Slater movie, but I take it for what it is. And I remember after I first saw that movie, I was in love with Helen Slater's Supergirl. I wanted to see more, but the world wasn't ready for a female superhero. I don't think it's as much about that movie as much as people diminishing, female-led roles at the time. But I thought she did a great job. I thought it was a great cast, and it's a shame we didn't get more of that. So I will keep you updated with what's going on with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So I'm very sure we're going to get lots of announcements on this film, and lots of films for DC Universe. As I said a few weeks ago, 2024 is going to be a very exciting year for news on DC Universe, and you are going to get it all here on Movies TV Mad. I promise you about that. So the casting process, the audition process is going to begin very soon, or they're just going to make an offer. So I expect an actress to be cast very soon and a director for this movie to be announced very soon as well. Very, very exciting. Warner Brothers revealed the confirmed cast list for Joker Folie à Deux, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. Set to release on October the 4th, 2024, the sequel to Todd Phillips' 2019 thriller not only continues the story of Phoenix's Arthur Fleck, but introduces Lady Gaga as the DC Elseworlds version of Harley Quinn. But since Joker 2 is expected to be a musical set within the walls of Arkham Asylum, Lady Gaga isn't the only new addition to the cast. Joker 2's confirmed 12 cast members. Warner Brothers and DC have published a new press release confirming 12 of the main cast members in Joker Folie à Deux. After winning the Academy Award for his portrayal of Arthur Fleck, Joker Joaquin Phoenix is back. But this time around, he's in a musical. Singing and dancing are expected. Unlike 2019's Joker, Joker 2 is reportedly told from Harley Quinn's perspective, not just his. Because as I keep on saying, this was always the next part of Todd Phillips' Black Label franchise. This is the Harley Quinn story, and I'm very excited. And I don't believe this is totally a musical. There will be singing and dancing, but they'll be talking, and this will be a proper movie. Don't let this talk of a musical put you off. So first of all, we've got Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. As the second actress to ever play live-action Harley Quinn, DCU fans are understandably curious about Lady Gaga's interpretation of this comic book character and the full scope of her role. Yes, it's captivating my imagination to see what Lady Gaga is going to do with this iconic DC character. I expect it to be bold, it's going to be different, and she's not playing a doctor in the asylum this time. I think she's playing an inmate. While fans have already seen sneak peeks of the Grammy Award-winning artist singing in the sequel and her Harley Quinn on the iconic stairs from the original Joker, much of her portrayal and the film itself remains a mystery. This is very, very interesting because we don't know that much about this movie, which I feel makes it even more exciting. Zazie Beetz, Sophie Drummond. Now, I thought Zazie was amazing in the first film, and I was one of the people saying she's got to come back. She's so good. And she's pretty good in anything that she does, so I'm happy that she's returning. Reprising her role as Arthur Fleck's love interest, Sophie Drummond from the 2019 movie, Zazie Beetz is confirmed to return for Folie à Deux. However, since her fate was never fully addressed, it will be interesting to see how the sequel brings her back and how her character is handled amidst Joker 2's new genre and location. We have Jacob Lofland, Arkham Asylum inmate. Known for his previous roles in the Maze Runner films Mud and FX's Justified, Jacob Lofland joined the film in September of 2022, and that's as much as I know. While he's confirmed to be an inmate in Arkham Asylum, the question fans are asking if he's an original character or, like Joker and Harley Quinn, a familiar comic book villain. This could be a film that kind of builds out the iconic Rogues Gallery as well. That would be very, very exciting to have a DC Elseworlds version of these rogues villains. It would be brilliant. Now, I know we've got another Elseworld with Matt Reeves, the Batman franchise, but how they do it here and how Todd Phillips does it here is going to be very, very interesting. Now, Brendan Gleeson is a wonderful man and a bloody good actor. He was, of course, in Harry Potter, but he's been in a lot of things. He's amazing. Another new member of the cast is Academy Award-nominated actor Brendan Gleeson, who recently starred in The Banshee of Inisherin. Gleeson joined Joker 2's cast in 2022, but in an unknown role. That's still a mystery even now. However, there has been speculation that he could be playing a warden or a security guard. I think he could be the guy who runs Arkham Asylum. He's too big an actor just to be playing a security guard. Maybe he helps them escape. We'll have to wait and see. Catherine Keener. The fifth actor to join Todd Phillips' Joker sequel was Get Out's Catherine Keener. While her casting was also made public in 2022, Warner Brothers has yet to reveal her role and any further details about her character. We have Steve Coogan. Now, wow. Now, Steve Coogan is one of the great comedians, impressionist actor. He played, Stan Laurel in the Stan and Ollie biopic. He was outstanding. He's a genius. This is amazing casting. A new casting confirmation for the October film is Steve Coogan, who's best known for his role in Philomena and Alan Partridge. Yeah, I mean, Alan Partridge, what a character he created. What's particularly interesting about his casting is that Coogan is also a writer, voice actor, and comedian. Interesting. Harry Laughton. First announced to be joining Joker 2 in October 2022, the pale blue eyes and industry's Harry Laughton reportedly has a noteworthy role in the sequel. Could this be an older Bruce Wayne? I'm not quite sure if this film continues straight from the first film or if it time jumps. I'm not sure. I mean, looking at what all the pictures and the stills we've seen thus far, Arthur Fleck doesn't look that much older. So I'm saying that maybe he's not Bruce Wayne, an older Bruce Wayne, because it seems to continue, although it could time skip after the beginning of the film. But he is young, he is good looking, and maybe he is playing. Or maybe he's playing a young Harvey Dent or something like that. It will be interesting. But a noteworthy role, so that's interesting. But again, like the majority of his 12 fellow DC stars, the studio provided no details, and his character is currently unknown. So we basically know jack shit about this movie. As I say, it's exciting. Lee Gill. Another returning star for 2019's Joker is Lee Gill, who played Gary, one of Arthur Fleck's co-workers. Gill's additional credits range from Game of Thrones to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now, he was the little guy who we thought Arthur might kill after he killed that other arsehole, right? Do you remember? But he didn't. He let him go. So he's coming back, so that's kind of exciting as well. Ken Yeung, known for Lost, Old, and Star Wars The Force Awakens, Ken Yeung is confirmed to be joining Folie à Deux in a mysterious role. Now that's interesting. Bill Smitovich. Despite being another recently confirmed addition to Joker's 12-member cast, fans do know actor Bill Smitovich, who starred in Ted and The November Man, will be playing the character of Judge Herman Rothwachs. Now, I think this is a corrupt kind of judge maybe, and we'll see what kind of role he plays in the film. Sharon Washington. Washington's social worker from the original Joker is also back in Folie à Deux, but at the moment there's no news on whether to expect more or less from her character this time around. In addition to the 2019 film, Sharon Washington's credits range from Die Hard with a Vengeance to Michael Clayton to Hustling. And this is an interesting question that they ask. Can Joker 2 top Joker's success? Joker Folie à Deux has a lot to live up to later this year. In addition to being the only live-action DC film for 2024, the original Joker was an awards darling with the record of being the highest-grossing R-rated film to date. It's the most profitable comic book movie of all time, and that's a fact. So it does have a lot to live up to. Whether Todd Phillips and the Joker 2 team can replicate that first film's success while changing the format to a musical thriller and expanding the cast is an experiment the film industry will be watching. So yes, some very interesting casting announcements there, and it's interesting that Warner Brothers and now have made these castings official, which means I think we're going to start hearing from Todd Phillips sooner rather than later. This film is out later this year on October the 4th. So that means, they're not going to start the marketing yet, but where are we now? So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. We've got about 9 months. So is it too early for at least a teaser trailer? I don't think we're going to get a teaser trailer yet, but could we get one at this year's Super Bowl? That's interesting. When is the Super Bowl? I have no idea, but I would expect maybe next month or the month after that to at least start getting something, but you won't get much marketing till much later. So what chance do I think this film of being a success? Listen, in terms of previous DC recent movies, it's not under a lot of pressure because every single DCEU movie really since they've since after the first Shazam has been a flop. And I love James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I love Black Adam. I thought they were two really good movies, but they failed at the domestic and global box office. But I don't judge films on their box office. I judge them on my personal involvement. So Joker and The Batman are the only two films that have been successful in the past few years since 2019. That's crazy, right? Two movies that are outside of the connected universe. That says that people are more interested from films and visions, from visionary directors, from auteurs, than something in a bottled universe that's connected. But of course, if James Gunn cooks well, he could put a change to that. We could have a thriving Elseworld and a thriving DC universe. That's something, as a DC fan, I would absolutely love. I would love to see that. What chance Joker Folia do of replicating the huge hit of the first film? Now, listen, if we go back to every movie with the Joker in, they've made money. Batman 89, The Dark Knight, even the first Suicide Squad that critics hated nearly made 800 million. When the Joker's involved, those movies make money. That's one of the reasons Joker made a lot of money. It's one of the best comic book movies ever made. But let's not get it twisted. It was the controversial element and the hatred from LA critics and, them saying if you go and watch this movie, you could be shot and killed and nonsense like that, that really pushed it to its $1 billion. So it's really going to be interesting how much interest this film's going to have. And I think the marketing will be key. Now, outside forces are telling us this is a musical, but I don't believe this is as much of a musical than people think, I think that there is singing, there is dancing, but it's not going to dominate this whole movie. I think you may have 2 or 3 routines at most. So I don't think this is totally a musical, but I said at the beginning, when Lady Gaga was cast, there was definitely going to be a musical element to it. You don't bring in Lady Gaga, a musician, a singer-songwriter, if you're not going to do that. I was absolutely stunned and delighted with the choice to cast Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I was very, very shocked, but I said at the time this was huge. This is a huge moment for Margot Robbie as well, who sits in the background and is really being told, we don't know if we still want you to play Harley. So she's very coy about the future of her Harley Quinn. Not because Margot doesn't want to play the character, because Margot loves the character and loves playing the character. But I think that, and it's the same with Wonder Woman as well. They're going to backseat Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman for now. That's why we're getting Paradise Lost instead of a Wonder Woman movie. Now, I don't know if when part 2 of Gods and Monsters is announced, which won't be for some time, it's looking like if a Wonder Woman movie and a Green Lantern movie will be announced, because they're going to see how part 1 does. They're not going to make the mistake of the DCEU, really. From Batman vs Superman onwards, they had this big slate that they changed their mind on when they saw the reaction from the public, the general audience and critics. So they're going to walk before they can run, and that's a very, very good idea. But I am very intrigued to see what kind of Harley Lady Gaga gives us, because she is a critically acclaimed actress as well as a singer-songwriter. We know she can perform. We know that Hollywood loves her. So this movie could end up being a huge awards darling. It's going to be very interesting. But something else you need to know about Todd Phillips, the co-writer and director of Joker Folia Do. He doesn't make a bad movie. He always seems to make successful movies. When you look at the Hangover trilogy, each one of those movies was a box office hit and critically acclaimed. He's a very talented storyteller and director. So I have faith that we're going to get another winner. Can it reach $1 billion? It's been a long time since a CBM at Marvel or at DC made $1 billion or did really, really well. Well, guess what? For DC, it hasn't been since 2019's first Joker movie. And I think the last movie to get anywhere near $1 billion for the MCU was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So I'm not Nostradamus. We'll have to wait and see, but I have a very good feeling for the future of DC. I really do. And I know a lot of people out there want it to fail. I think you may be disappointed.